Yo, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Abraham from Newark, New Jersey. Well, I'm from New Jersey now, but I didn't always live there. I used to live right outside of Jerusalem. Me, my wife, and my son, Dismas. You've heard about Dismas. He was one of the malefactors that was crucified with Jesus. A malefactor, an evildoer, a criminal. Isn't that a lovely thing to share on the job? Hey, how's Dismas doing these days? Well, just got arrested. Breaking and entering, robbery, got in a fight, drunk and disorderly. Yeah, that goes over well at the family gatherings, let me tell you. And then he went one step too far. Got into a bar fight, broke a bottle over a guy's head and killed him. And the Roman Empire, I tell you, they don't have that 1, 2, 2.5. They cut him down and executed him. And I had to stand there and watch it happen. You're familiar with the story? How he and two of his friends, the ringleader, Barabbas, had all been sentenced to be executed. And then some deal was worked out with the governor, some clemency for Barabbas. And instead, this Jesus took Barabbas' place. And they hung him up there on the cross. And there's my son, his jewel, cussing at the people, cussing at Jesus, shouting out to him, hey, if you're Christ, if you're everything they say you are, get on down from the cross and save us while you're at it. I suppose he's paying the price for his sin and his crimes, but I got to pay that price too. His mother died when he was pretty young, and I suppose that job of raising him should have fallen to me. But you know how it is in the construction business, boom or bust. And there were a lot of times when construction was booming and I just wasn't home. I was on the job, doing what I felt I needed to do. And I wasn't there to give him the kind of guidance and leadership that a parent should give to a kid. And so he began to drift and run away. No, not like that other kid you read about who took a part of his father's inheritance and ran off to a faraway place, party. No. Dismas just kind of drifted away from a relationship with me. And in those times when we were together, either I was too tired to talk, or he just wasn't in the mood to talk to me. If you've raised teenagers, you know how that goes. Where are you going? Out. What are you going to do? Stuff. How are you doing? Fine. I wish you would have opened up to me. I wish you would have told me about the pressures that he was under. So I kind of hid myself in my work and kept myself busy. And I found myself wondering as I stood there on that hillside outside Jerusalem, if only there was some kind of miracle that would happen. Maybe a word would come down from the governor, a word of leniency, a pardon, so he wouldn't have to hang there like that. Now, I'm not going to go into the gruesome details. The simple fact of the matter is that crucifixions normally lasted days. They would strap your arms up over your head, making it tough for you to breathe. And so you'd have to lift yourself up to catch your breath, and then sag back down again. You can only do that for so long before you're just too tired. And if the soldiers were feeling bored and you weren't dying fast enough, they break your legs. And that's just what they did to my son. My son! My boy! I remember when he was born. It was the proudest day of my life. My firstborn child. And I remember going through the whole neighborhood. Hey, it's a boy. Hey, I'm a dad. Hey, I'm a father. Oh, man. And then to lose him like that. I wish I could go back in time and do it over. But you can't, you know? And so there he was, hanging on that cross, dying. A slow and hideous consequence for his behavior. But this guy in the center, I'd heard about this Jesus character. Miracles that he performed, how he showed love to people, even to the Roman government, and said we should be obedient to them. Imagine that. Be obedient to those bloodsuckers. I can't make a buck without them taking half of it. Who loves like that? And then he tells us to love our enemies? Yeah, right. That ain't going to happen. And there he hangs on that center cross. He could have cussed the people. He could have cussed the soldiers out. And instead, he says stuff like, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And he looks down on his mother who's standing there. And he looks at another one of his friends and says, Son, behold your mother. Mother, behold your son. Here he was dying. He was in agony. And his thoughts were of his mother, that she would be cared for by him. I prayed for a miracle. And I'm here to tell you, I got it. Because I saw the expression on my son's face change. And his buddy, who was over on the other side, is still cussing at this Jesus. And my son tells him, hey, shut the heck up. We're here because we get punished for what we did. This guy's done nothing wrong. Now, I don't know if Dismas knew about Jesus, if he'd heard about the miracles, maybe he'd been there for some of the sermons he preached, or maybe he was just witnessing love happen right before his eyes. And he turns to Jesus, oh God, and he lifts himself up and says, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Now, for those of you who ain't Jewish, you may not understand this, but he wasn't asking for Jesus to go, oh yeah, once upon a time I met a guy named Dismas. No. To remember him. Put it the other way around. Don't forget about me when you come into your kingdom. My son knew who this was. I do too now. This was the Son of God. This was the Messiah that we've been praying for centuries. Right there in front of us, offering his life for us. And my son says to him, don't forget me when you get to heaven. You ever felt left out? You ever felt forgotten? Jesus, remember me. And this Jesus looks at him, and he doesn't say, yeah, I'll put it on the list. Yeah, I'll make a note to myself. He looks at my son and says, today you will be with me in paradise. Okay. My son did come down from the cross. They took his lifeless body down. He didn't get rescued that day. He got saved. Jesus didn't come down from the cross. He was there for a reason. And he didn't bring Dismas down from the cross with him, because Dismas was the reason Jesus was on that cross. My son had to deal with the consequences from the government for his behavior, but he didn't have to deal with the consequences from God, because this Jesus had already done that for him, just as he did it for you and for me. So we don't have to be forever separated from God because of our disobedience. Yeah, sure, we suffer consequences on this earth for the things we do. But when that moment comes and our life here is over, Jesus will remember you too. May God's peace, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds through faith in Christ Jesus. Amen. Amen. I think the pastor's going to need 2 volunteers to go collect the loot or receive the offering or